Welcome to another edition of the Dojo Show with your host, Sensei Marv. I'm here with another exciting episode. This week, I am so excited to bring to you Shihan Kelly Leo with the Shidokan Karate Association. He has a compelling story to tell, as well as to talk about his background and a little bit about his style. So tune in. It's the Dojo.
Today's video is being brought to you by the Oak City Open Karate Tournament, taking place Saturday, March 15th, 2025 at the Carolina Pines Community Center in Raleigh, North Carolina. Oak City Open is a premier martial arts competition that brings together karate practitioners of all ages and skill levels. This annual event features categories in kata forms, kobudo weapons, and jisin kumite, full contact sparring. Divisions are organized by age, experience, and rank, ensuring fairness and a competitive spirit for all. For more information, contact Sensei Marvin at saint.seerdojo@gmail.com.
As always, what I like to do is I like to start with an introduction. So I want to go ahead and read a little bit about you, who you are, where you started from, and then we'll kind of just take it from there. So I like to give my guys their flowers. You know, we gotta give you your flowers while you're here. You know,
Yes,
we want to acknowledge your greatness and everything. So Shihan Kelly started martial arts with his brother around the age of 10 or 11. He officially started taking the Chan Mu Kwan when he was about 15 and competed on a national level with sports karate, rising up through the ranks for several years. At the age of 18, he started venturing into the world of boxing and kickboxing. He participated in some local, regional, and national bouts, winning local and regional titles in both boxing and kickboxing before turning professional at the age of 24. Kelly fought from middleweight to heavyweight divisions, winning regional, national, and world titles. In the year 2000, he fought in the U.S. Shidokan Triathlon Tournament in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and this was soon after joining with the Shidokan organization. Currently, Kelly holds a fourth dan in Dan Chang Mu Kwan, a third dan in Shidokan Karate, second dan in Kisai Kai Karate, and a brown belt in Judo. Welcome, Shihan Kelly Leo.
glad to be here. Glad to be here.
Yes. I'm glad to have you here, brother. Listen, I truly appreciate you coming on. You know, I know you've had a busy schedule. You keep a busy schedule, and then as well as just having some personal stuff. So, again,
Yes.
I truly am grateful that you are able to come here and just talk with me for a little bit. And I would be remiss to say that, you know, although this is a joyous occasion to come and speak with you, we're both a little saddened over the loss of our karate brother and comrade, Shihan Richard Tremmell. So
Yes,
rest in
sir.
peace, Shihan Richard. But this is also going to be a celebration of life. We're going to talk about your journey, which will also cover his journey as well, I should say, because you guys had parallel journeys to get to where you were. So with that being said, the first question I have for you is, what led to your interest in the martial arts? Like,
I was in second grade. I'll never forget this. I went to a book fair and I found a book on karate. Had no idea what it was. Started flipping through, and in the top corner, you could sort of flip through the pages and see the guy doing punches, kicks, katas, or whatever. I didn't know what it was at the
yep.
time. I thought it was the coolest thing I've ever seen, and it sort of just planted a seed that just blossomed to where I am today. I never stopped pursuing it from that point on. And when my brother
Right.
started, he would come home and pretty much beat me up and show me stuff he learned, and that I would just learn and practice all the techniques he would show me. And then about age 15, officially, I signed up with an organization, the Changwu Kwan United Karate Studios. My instructor was Jim Haymore to start with. Got a fourth degree through
Okay.
them and continued my journey into other things after I've been there for several years. I never really left anything. I just started adding to what I was doing and trying to
Added on.
continue
Right.
to grow my arsenal. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So
That's awesome.
yeah, yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about the sports karate stuff, because you know I'm a traditionalist, right? I do
Mhm.
all traditional karate.
Right.
I've participated in some tournaments where I've seen some sports karate stuff. We've done some of that. But talk to me
Mhm.
about your experience with sports karate. Like, what do you know, your experience and your thoughts?
I think it's a great aspect. It's one aspect of fighting. It's learning how to be evasive and closing the distance at a rapid pace. being evasive when they're
Right.
coming to you fast. And I think it's a good element from the outside aspect of fighting, how to make a miss and get the angles to counter and things like that. I knew there was more, so that's when I started boxing about 18 because I wanted to be able to fight on the inside as well. So I
Mm,
started boxing, went to Dorville Boxing Gym, learned how to, ultimately I wanted to kickbox, but it just happened to be a boxing gym that
right.
that we went to, and a guy named Asa Gordon had just shut his gym down. He was older, and he was still training one kickboxer, which happened to be Richard Tremmell. And the first day I went there, he and I got in the ring, and just Richard beat the crap out of me, and I fell in love with it, and he and I became glued at the hip and best friends ever since. So it was
Isn't
it
that
was a good
awesome
time.
when you can become best friends with somebody after getting punched in the face, right?
Yeah, best friends through violence, I guess.
No, it's a peaceful
you know,
violence, but yeah.
yeah. It was, but I tell you, he was Richard was so encouraging, and just even though I had ice on my face afterwards, he was so encouraging, and just he had me believing I could do this, and he was he could see things that a lot of people didn't. So I kept going back and getting better and getting better.
And so you turned pro prior to doing Shidokan, right?
Yes, I was doing kickboxing, boxing, and everything like that. Just that was kind of my path at the time. Me and Richard would do that, and then he and I would say, "Hey, let's go try some judo, or just start practicing some judo, just to kind of, again, we wanted to continue adding to our arsenal, so to speak." And we met um, with Nakjun Kim over in Marietta. I started going over there and training a little bit, and just then we'd get together and we'd practice a little bit, throw each other, even at the boxing gym. People thought we were crazy. And then one day, this is probably '99, I guess it was. We were watching Shidokan on ESPN. So they called it
Mm,
triathlon rules, and where it
right,
changes rules every couple of rounds. It changes rules from the traditional knockdown karate to Muay Thai, and then MMA, and you could do judo throws throughout the entire fight. So luckily, we
right,
had been taking judo, and you could do grappling on the ground for a certain amount of time. They could submit you and stuff in the last two rounds. In the finals, it was 3-3-3, but uh, it was just really interesting. She could fight three times, so I think it was 20 something rounds in one day. So it was a lot of
wow,
fighting,
right.
which is the reason uh, they called it triathlon rules, because it was brutal. It was brutal.
You
That
went into the tournament. You went into the
Yes.
tournament first, or you started training
No,
with
well, me and
Shidokan
Rich.
first?
No, we went to tournament first. That's how we were introduced to Shidokan. We knew there was a tournament called U.S. Open that would lead to the Worlds
Right,
in uh, that June of 2000, and then so we went to Fort Lauderdale and entered it. At that particular time, we had so many people enter that we had to fight during the daytime one fight to get into the finals, which he still
the
had three
evening.
more fights to go in the evening. So um, luckily, my first fight ended in about 20 seconds. The guy came out and was doing, like, I call them tornado kicks, 360 round kicks over and
Uh-huh.
over and over. And I just backed up and just, luckily my sport karate kicked in, and I was being real evasive. As soon as he put his foot down, I just kicked him in the leg and kneed him in the stomach, and the fight was over. And I was like, "Whoa, that was all right. I can take this." So I didn't get beat up too bad. Richard had a little bit longer of a fight, but he didn't get banged up either. And we came
Right.
back that night and did well. Shortly after that, Shihan Eddie Yashimura from the Chicago, the head of Shidokan USA, started sending Richard all over the world to try to get him to get beat, so to speak.
Wow.
And they couldn't find anybody. So shortly, about, I guess, probably 4 or 5 fights after them doing that, they said, "Hey, would you like to join us?" And then that's where our journey began. With I couldn't tell you what year, but our journey
Right.
began
Right.
with Shidokan at that point, and we haven't looked back. We
Right.
fell in love with it.
Tell me a little bit about Shidokan. So I know about Shidokan. I know about stuff, but for my listeners, because there is another Shidokan which is like associated with Shotokan, right? But then there's your Shidokan organization,
Correct.
which is full contact. For the person not necessarily knowing, if you look up Shidokan, you may find the wrong the wrong
Yeah.
style. But tell me a little
Mhm.
bit about Shidokan, its origins, its founders, and its relationship to Kyokushin and to the knockdown world.
Shidokan is an offspring of Kyokushin karate, which is Masayama.
Right.
Concho Sueno is the founder of Shidokan. He did that in 1983. Probably telling more than I should, but I think he was in jail at the time. He was one of Masayama's top instructors, and
Right.
they would go around and he would send his top instructors out to go beat up other karate schools that were competition back in the day, and got a little trouble. And I think at that point he realized, I need to go do my own thing. And so 1983, Shidokan Karate was formed, and it sort of developed. It started out the same way. He still teaches the same traditional techniques and katas and
Right.
things. But then as they've gone along, basically his tournament started out kind of like sabaki. You don't know if you remember what sabaki is,
Hmm.
but
Yep.
which was full contact, and then they would add grabs and so one-handed grabs. So he decided, well, we'll do two-handed grabs. Then they'll add the throws in there. You had only like 3 seconds to get a throw, and then
Technique in. Yeah.
yeah, technique. And then if they had a tie at the end, they started putting on boxing gloves. Then just sort of just
Mm.
developed from there. Then of course MMA hit the scene, and then sort of, well, we like that, so we sort of added the MMA aspect to it. So it sort of changed the whole format of how they competed, which is
Right.
what really kind of sparked our interest. That was our MMA back then, because it was NHB back then, where when it first started in what, 94. I think
Right.
MMA started in 1994. So that was mine and Richard's MMA experience, I guess you could say. But we fell in love with the concept, and our dojos are taught the exact same way. What we do is we split up the different arts and teach the different arts in different
Right.
classes, and then if they have a fight, then they just put it all together.
So you and Richard were both fighting, competitively fighting and training, and you guys are still, well, you're still actively fighting and training and pushing yourself and testing
Yes,
yourself. But
right.
when did you decide that, you know what, I want to open up a school, I want to open up a program, and I really want to expand Shidokan to, the US and to the South?
Go back to Ace Gordon I mentioned earlier. We A lot of time we got through boxing training and kickboxing training. I'd probably be there 3-4 days a week. But we'd go eat at Waffle House afterwards and just sit and talk about life. And Asa wanted he and I to do some stuff together. He goes, "I want you to do Kelly, you do the karate." And at the time, Richard had more kickboxing experience, so he said, "You just run the kickboxing program." Um, and so we kind of did that. Then we sort of just kind of, both of our roles changed. My kickboxing career took off, and Richard's karate career took off, and so we kind of just did the same thing. We were together for a little while, but life gets in the way, and I had to
Right.
family growing and stuff. I needed to be closer to them, so I came to get started in Gainesville, late 20s, I guess, when we started doing that. I remember my first karate school I started in when I was 24 as well. I was teaching Chang Mui
Wow.
Kwan, and then yeah, but because of kickboxing, getting to travel so much, I ended up having to I just didn't have time
Shut
to
it
do
down.
that. So yeah, so I shut it down, and I came back to it. When I did, I came back to teaching the Shidokan way, and sort of went from there. And then just been doing it for like 20 something years now. Richard kept his school going and growing and doing the personal training like as well as I did, and did personal training classes, and still doing that today.
It's interesting because you said you had a school at 24, so you taught a different style and came back and taught Shidokan. Do you think that you ran the schools or run the schools the same way you did? I know the curriculum has some similarities, but also a lot of differences. Do you feel like the
Hmm.
way you ran the school was the same, or did you change or evolve, from the first
I,
time you ran a studio to where you are
I
now?
was I changed everything completely. I did. We had a different company we're going through that was taking the money and collecting for us, things like that. I do everything in house as far as setting it up through my personal bank account, and then
Right,
I teach totally different. As far as what I teach more of a full contact style now. I will throw in some sport karate movements and angles just to kind of give my fighter a little bit different of an aspect of how I want them to fight, and they can carry it over into
right,
kickboxing and boxing, whatever they decide to do. They can carry that footwork, I guess you could say, and into to whatever combat sport they decide to get into. So I taught way different than I was doing before. As you grow, then you learn that things you kind of cut away the fat and put things in there that you think would work best, and it's always
Right.
evolving anyway. So
But the old school, was it more closed? Because a lot of organizations, everything is closed within. But I noticed, like with Shidokan, you guys are an open book. Like you guys will travel. I remember
right,
Richard's come to my tournament, in the past, and
yep,
you guys have
yep.
done the World of Yama tournaments, and you guys travel. So was there a difference? Was that previous organization more
No, it was
closed?
always, they always did open tournament. They worked really well with other different styles that would do the open uh, point fighting sport karate tournaments around the southeast, and then I
Okay.
would travel all over that every year. Went to several national tournaments, all up down the East Coast and out west and things like that. So I've never been wanted to be the big fish in a little pond type person. I've always wanted to be the big fish in the big pond. You know, whether I was that, I don't
Hey.
know, but at least I tried, right?
Right.
So
No,
that's
you
just I
listen,
just
you're
always
you're not trying, you're doing. You are still actively competing today, right?
yeah. I don't know if that's smart, but I still am. I took a retirement out of for about 10 years, and I thought I was finished competing. I was still competing with judo again with the influence of Richard. Come on, let's go do national judo tournaments. Okay, I'll do that, and got slammed around and beat around and did okay some, but it was fun, and I was in shape, which was the ultimate goal for me at that time, just something to work for and to keep me healthy.
Right.
And then I got a call from South Africa from RCFA, so Ring Combat Fighting Sports, and they asked if I'd be interested in fighting for a world title over there. And at first I said no because they only gave me like 6 weeks to get ready. Then I hit them back and said, if you give me time to get ready, I'll do it. This was February. They backed it up to the end of May. I was 53 years old, 52 at the time, sorry. So I went over there and knocked the guy out, and it was full contact. This was above the waist. I've done everything from low kick to above the waist, So this was
Right.
old school
Right.
PKA style, kickboxing. So I was like, yeah, that'd be fun. So I went and did that and knocked the guy out in the fifth round and world champion. I'm supposed to they
Wow.
actually have contacted me about going back in this year, 2025, October, and defending the title. I'll be 54 end of this month. So, I have had a few questions, and I'm waiting to get those back to see if I'm
Right.
going to actually do it. But as long as I stay healthy, I may go ahead and do it. I love the trip, love the people, and it was a
Right.
lot of fun. It is a passion, and I love doing it. And um, it may be a little crazy to be doing it at this age, but right.
Nah, nothing crazy about that. If this is a lifelong journey for us, right? I mean, I know for
Yes.
me, even with all the injuries and things that I have, I've always said this is something I'm going to do until the day that I die. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Same.
this is a lifelong journey, and I mean,
Yeah.
even for Shion Richard, like he did this until he couldn't.
Yeah.
Um,
Every day.
and you,
He did it every
yeah,
single day. Even on his day off, he was training himself. He was a great
yeah.
mentor and a great role model.
You currently, not only do you fight, but you also have a lot of your students that openly go out and fight, as well as
Yes,
Richard.
sir.
I mean, you guys were
Mhm.
everywhere. So
Yep.
talk to
Yep.
me a little bit about the program that you run over at, because you're at Full Throttle Fitness over in Gainesville, Georgia.
Right.
Shout out
Right.
to Full Throttle. So tell me a little bit about your program and kind of what you guys do over there, and then maybe talk a little bit about some of your students and some of their accomplishments.
Okay. We teach, a fitness kickboxing class. It's just for the general person who wants to come in, hit the bags, and uh, get in shape and release some stress. We also have Muay Thai and boxing classes, jiu-jitsu and judo classes. I do personal training from weights to kickboxing over there, and then I train fighters. Right now, currently, I've got about 4 active fighters. I had about 15 at one time, and that was a headache. But I've got some new guys. That was because I was going all the time with those guys. But we've got
Right.
4 active fighters. I got one called Cameron Burton, who is a regional
Yes, Cameron.
champion. Yeah, Cameron is very very super talented young guy. Jace Lent. He goes by James Lent too.
Yep.
But
Yep.
he's my cruiserweight / heavyweight, and he's really starting to come into his own. And he's fighting for the SKC in South Carolina. It's a kickboxing circuit that they have there around,
Okay.
trying to get around the Southeast. He's fighting for a regional title March 29th. And then a couple of new guys, Jose, I can't think of his last name, but and then another guy coming up that are doing pretty good as well. So
Right. Right.
they're keeping me active, keeping me on my toes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I know Richard also had a lot of fighters as well on his side as well that he was
Yeah,
working with.
right.
Yeah.
He's got several young guys that are super talented. Have won. I don't know if you've heard of NFC. They're pretty big in
Hmm.
Georgia.
Yep.
And they kind of feed into the UFC, and where they do boxing, kickboxing and MMA fights together combined. It's got a couple of guys. Adrian Weathersby is one of their champions. A couple
Yep.
of other guys that fight for them are also the champions with NFC and as well as other organizations. But they produce a lot of really talented fighters and tough guys, and we sort of put matches on to sort of keep our guys active uh, between the bigger fights.
Right.
This January 18th, I'm doing a boxing smoker because I have a boxing program as well. So some of those guys are going to box. Some of the guys from Shidokan, Atlanta, are going to
Right.
compete as well. And then we're just going to kind of continue doing that and then putting on some WKA fights throughout the year as well, kickboxing, just to
Okay.
continue
Awesome.
getting some stuff. We haven't done we were doing, Richard and I were doing the knockdown challenges for a while and haven't done that
Right.
in a little bit. And I was thinking about bringing that back this year too, trying to have one or two
Close.
little tournaments like that as well. So we can, I don't want the Kyoshi style knockdown style to die. So
Disappear.
I want,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
No, it
so
won't. It won't.
yeah. So try to do something just to kind of continue that spark as well.
Right. Keep that
So
legacy
lots of
going.
plans.
Now
Yeah.
you also have a program for Parkinson's, don't you?
Yes, I do. Yes, I
You
do.
have
I
like a
totally forgot
yeah,
that.
yes.
Yeah,
Speak
I
to me a
do
little
a
bit.
couple of days a week. Yeah, they come in and do boxing program, and it's great for balance. And then I do everything by numbers, and they I call out a combination with numbers, helps their cognitive, helps them kind of retain things. And I have the bags, the heavy bags, the boxing bags that move a little bit because they have problems
Right.
with depth perception and stuff. So it sort of helps them gauge that depth perception, and then putting all that together with the balance and footwork and
Right.
combinations, it sort of just helps them kind of, doesn't really, it's not going to cure the disease, but it will slow it down. It's been one of the uh,
Absolutely.
it's been documented as one of the best ways for a person to slow it down, to slow that disease
Right.
down.
Right. Right. Well, with
We
any
have a lot of
disease, I
fun.
would imagine.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It just keeps you active, keeps you going. A lot of times I turn on the radio. You have no idea what we're going to listen to that day because I'll let them pick, and they'll sing to it, and we have a great time. And because Parkinson's also affects the voice, so
Right.
singing is good for them to generate that muscle and help just kind of keep it from dissipating and not being able to speak.
So how did you get into that program? Like how did that program just evolve?
One of my friends in Gulf Shores, Alabama, Chris Wheeler, started doing the Rock Steady program, which is started for the Parkinson's out of New York. And I thought that was an interesting thing. And he was telling me all these great stories. Well, lo and behold, one of my other friends from my previous organization who I did sport karate with had a group come in that started doing a boxing program, but they were based out of Georgia. So I went that route because I had more local contacts I could kind of learn and feed into to help me learn as I was doing this as well. Started doing it, and so I got certified through them, and they they just sort of took me and helped me get going, and here we are today. So
Right.
that's how that
Right.
started. Yeah.
That is awesome. That is awesome. That is awesome. Well, I don't want to forget talking about Richard. So I wanted to devote a little bit of time just talking about what Richard meant to you and just kind of some of the things that he had going on and some of the impact that he had in the Atlanta. Oh,
His Richard's influence was worldwide. You know, it's apparent just by the you know, videos and messages, and even people reaching out to me, checking on me to say how I was doing, handle that. You know, I kept telling them this is not about me, it's about Richard, but they knew we were close. But he had so many people worldwide that he influenced, impacted, and just became family with just because of his, you know, his spirit, you know, his martial arts spirit, his samurai spirit. And he really
Right.
influenced a lot around the state. There's a lot of people, basically anybody who's anybody in Georgia. Richard pretty much had his hands on it somehow, whether it was just through
Right.
conversation or training, or just, you know, just talking or whatever. You know, just Richard he made a big impact worldwide. You know, just getting to know everybody, and you know, he loved it. You could just see the passion of martial arts that he had, and everybody picked up on it, and everybody he just influenced people and motivated people to continue training and to become their best. So he was
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
unique person by far. So
Yes. One of a
uh,
kind. One of a
yeah,
kind.
yeah, okay, yeah, yep. And then, you know, with me, you know, I went to a boxing gym to learn boxing and ended up getting a brother out of it. So he was one of the best things that ever happened to me.
Yeah, and Richard just has just such a humble spirit. I remember
Yep.
one of the guys down here who does Shidokan. You know, he comes down and he's trained with me, and he's like, "You gotta meet Richard. You gotta meet Richard." And
Yeah.
you know, lo and behold, when I met Richard, it's just like, you know, he's just this breath of fresh air, very
Yep.
humble. And then when you kind of look at his accomplishments, you're like, wow, you know, like this guy is a
Yeah.
walking living legend, you know. And so
Yeah. Yeah.
um
Yeah. It was cool to watch him because he would go from just super humble to when it was time to get in the ring or whatever he was competing on the mat, whatever, he would flip this switch and it was go
yeah.
time, and he would handle his business and then get back off, and it's like he never was even out there. You know, doesn't get upset about hardly anything, you know, and if he does, he handles it, speaks
Right.
his mind, and it's gone, you know. That's just the way he is. And
Yeah. Yeah.
to me, he's one of the most talented martial artists ever produced in the United States. He could do whatever he did.
Right.
He went straight to the top, you know, and
Right. Right.
it was awesome. It was awesome to witness for sure.
I had called him before the holidays when I saw the announcement, and I saw you posting some stuff, and I didn't want to pry because you
Yeah,
know, you
yeah,
were kind of very private about how things were. And then it kind of
yeah,
came out that he was sick, and I called him, and I
yeah,
just, you know, I didn't take up much of his time, but
yeah,
just was like trying to just be encouraging and like he'll get over soon. And then
yeah,
it was pretty sudden, so I was actually shocked
yeah,
when I heard of the passing when you announced it. So,
yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah, he meant a lot to a lot of people.
He did. I mean, the day he found out, he called me and you know, was telling me he was upbeat about it, and I said, he goes, just another fight, it's just another fight. And I said, well, what do you want me to do? You know, he goes, well, you hold him and I'll hit him. I was like, sounds good, let's do it. You know, so he was a fighter all the way until the very end. You know, he came out and
Absolutely.
he would, you know, he fought it as
Yeah.
long as anybody could, but you know, it's just unfortunate that we lost
Right.
him too soon. Honestly, you know, yeah,
Right.
he
Right.
was super
And
talented.
the outpouring from the Shidokan Association was incredible. I saw that, and I mean, it just touched
Yeah,
my heart to see all the
yeah,
Shihans and the senseis from all over the world just really wishing him
yeah,
well and aiding him and giving him positive energy through the fight.
yeah, yeah. It
You
was
know,
amazing.
and I know a
That
lot of us were here doing the same thing.
Yep. The video, I called him, you know, every day or text every day, and just, you know, I try not to bug him too much, or I would talk, you know, send messages through his wife, just, you know, tell him I love him, you know, tell him we're here for him, praying for him, and
Right.
you know, and uh, anything they need, you know, I'm here. So it was just, it was, it
Yeah.
was, it was tough, but you know, you know, I knew he was. If anybody would have beat it, it would have been him, and he was going to fight it
Absolutely.
until the last second, you know, and that's exactly what he did. So
Absolutely. And just the fact that he was still answering calls,
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
midst of
yeah,
this
for real.
fight, and
Yeah,
you would never know how sick he was. Like, I mean, you could
right.
hear the, but he just, was a fighter through and through. So
Yep, yep. And then, did somebody take a picture of him, and he's feeling awful, and he always had that smile, you know, and he always had it. So it just let you know, hey, I'm okay, So if he
right,
couldn't say it, he would show it through his face.
right,
It was,
right,
yeah,
right,
yeah,
right, right. Well, rest in peace, Shion Richard.
yes, sir.
So I'm not sure when this is going to air, but I know you have something planned, or well, not you have something planned, but there's a memorial that is that is
Yes.
um that is scheduled for him. And I
Hmm.
know you had made a request. You want to speak a little bit about kind of what's going to happen and when, and what
Yeah.
we're asking, or what you're asking.
There is it's going to be January 25th at 2 o'clock at Shidokan, Atlanta. Um, I can send you the address. I think the post we shared has the address, but it'll start around 2 o'clock. And his wife asked if everybody, all of his students, and as many martial artists who want to come would come in their gi and just kind of do a little quick workout as well. She's wanting as many people that can to learn his new the kata that he created. It's called Panza no kata, which means panther, which that was his fight name. Was T'Challa
Hmm.
was his fight name, but it meant panther. Um, but uh,
Right.
but but that was his kata he created. I don't know how many people's going to learn it because it's kind of an in-depth kata.
Yeah, I was
Uh,
looking at the video. It's pretty intense. There's a lot
yeah,
of
I was like, I don't know.
movements.
I told her, I said, I don't know if we can teach that in one day. So I asked her, I said, maybe we can just kind of have a video of him doing it, or one of his guys that may know it, demonstrate it, and then
Right.
just put in a request for us to learn that for this next year, to honor him. Just add that to our katas
Right.
that we have to learn at black belt, because this is definitely not a beginner kata for sure. But
Right. Right.
and then and I'm going to speak a little bit on kind of our story and what he meant to me as well, and they'll have a few other people speaking along with it, and just celebrate uh, his life and what he meant to us,
Right.
and just
Right.
hopefully we
Right.
can just continue to carry on his legacy and keep Shidokan alive and well, and grow the Shidokan brand throughout the southeast.
Right.
That's
Right.
what the
Right.
plan is.
Well,
Yeah.
it will continue. It will continue to grow. It will continue to grow as long as you're here, and the deshi, the students that are there, AJ and everybody else
Mhm.
that's around.
Mhm. Right.
The legacy that you guys are building here in the
Hmm.
in the south in the southeast, will never disappear. So I truly thank you guys. Thank you for coming and talking
Thank
about
you for having
Shidokan, about your journey, about Richard and what he meant to you. He meant a lot to a lot of people, and
me. Yeah.
hopefully, this will be a good way to memorialize him, to celebrate him, as well as to celebrate you, because
Yes, sir.
I
Yes,
don't
sir.
want to have to sit here and say, oh, Kelly was a great guy, and you never hear it. We do so much for so many people, and we impact
Hmm.
people in such a profound way. Sometimes we
Yeah.
don't even realize how much we
That's
impact
true.
people.
That's very true.
Sometimes it's you think about it. Our paths crossed, what, like 2 3 years ago, 4 years ago. I don't even remember
Hmm.
how long it is now. But
Right. Right.
the impact that you leave on people, right? Like, you
Hmm.
don't realize that little ripple in the water spreads out so far, and it
Yeah.
and it
Exactly.
impacts
Yeah.
so many different people. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's my purpose of really doing this, is to really ensure that, um we're acknowledging our ancestors, the people that came before us, but as well as the
Hmm.
people that are doing it now, because what we do
Yeah.
now matters, is important, and we need more people doing that.
Hmm. Yep.
So
Yep.
I thank
Yeah.
you so much for doing that. Yeah.
Both you and I both, and Richard, and anybody else that have become instructors and their own thing. I always say that the martial arts is our tool to basically help better people's life.
Right.
It's not just about the punching and kicking. It's like what you said. It's what it does for you that makes the difference. And then I'm gonna
Right.
continue doing that. Just continue doing the same thing as Richard did, and touching people's lives as well as you doing the same thing, and just to, hopefully we can just keep it alive and keep it going, and in our own special way, make the world a better place. So
Right.
that's,
Right. Right.
that's okay.
So before I let you go,
Yes.
and I got this actually from Richard and Patrick when they were interviewing me. They interviewed me a while ago, and when I came down, and they asked me like, "What's your favorite technique?" and stuff like. So I'm gonna do that. What is your
Okay.
favorite? Let me see. What's your favorite knockdown technique?
Knockdown technique. I love. It's gonna be my left hand because it's just what I do. I throw my left hand at any moment, but
Right.
whether it's to the face or just to the body, I'm going to throw it. But my favorite kicking technique is my back kick. I love that.
Back
Uh,
kick.
I love that kick. I love
Okay.
low kicks.
Okay.
I love my favorite kicking technique would be my back kick. But you're going to get hit with my left hand. That's no doubt. That's my go-to.
That's absolute.
That's just my go-to. Yeah, I don't even think about that one. It just comes out. I'm left-handed, obviously, and so it comes out of nowhere, and I just throw it because it just feels good. There's something
You throw
awesome about my
overhand.
knuckles.
You throw overhand left,
I do
or is
throw it.
it
An over,
just
an
across?
over, well, if it's to the body, it's straight, and then if I do the head, it's overhand, and um, it's just my go-to. I don't even think about it.
I got hit by an overhand lefty when I used to manage a boxing gym, and I used to do a little sparring, just play around. I got hit by an
Right.
overhand left, and I couldn't figure out how to stop it. It was just
Yep.
it
It's
was
weird.
unbelievable.
It's a weird angle. And, when I went to into K1, everybody was 6'5" or taller, and here I'm 6 foot
Right.
barely. Right. I would hit the body, and then their hands would come down. I'd come overhand left,
Boom.
and
Yep.
yeah, that was my thing. Thank God for leg kicks, because I would nullify their punches with kicking the leg every time they would come in to hit
Right.
me. So then I'd go the body, and then I'd hit him with the overhand, and that was just my thing. But yeah, everybody goes, he's going to throw his left. Yeah, but you don't know when.
Yeah.
You know.
You can't stop
Yeah,
it.
yeah. That was my thing. But I guess that would be my favorite technique. But as far as punches go, it's obviously the overhand left. Yeah. So
Right.
to answer your question,
So now let's ask your favorite throw.
Uchimata.
Uchimata.
Then
Okay.
Yeah, Uchimata. Yep, 100%. I love
Okay.
that.
And,
If
and
I can.
explain that to my listeners.
But the Uchimata is you slide in, you hook, and hook the leg, and it's a hip toss, but basically you use the leg to whip them a little bit faster, and so I can actually get that because my
Right.
still
Right.
standing
Yep.
my they call it a right-handed stance in judo, but it's my southpaw stance, so I just use it the same as I would if I'm fighting. So, but I'll slide in, hook the leg, and then twist and get wrap around and let it go. But that's my favorite.
And the
Uchimata.
last thing I'm gonna ask: favorite martial arts movie?
Oh boy,
That's probably the
uh,
hardest question I've asked,
that's
huh?
it is. That is. Those are there's two or three. I'm say Enter the Dragon, and then
Okay.
Kickboxer with Jean-Claude Van Damme. Probably my
Jean-Claude
ultimate
Van Damme.
favorite. Yeah, there was
Okay.
it Good Guys Wear Black. This was when I was younger. I remember seeing Chuck Norris do that flying sidekick through the
Yep.
windshield. I think that's what it was. And
Uh-huh.
so that was one of those seeds that got planted too. Was watching that.
Right.
Yeah. I was like, man, that's cool. I'm gonna jump through a window. As a kid, you didn't realize how dangerous that really was. But
Right.
but but
Right. Right.
but 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 my favorite was probably Enter the Dragon.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, Shion Kelly, thank you so much. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. I appreciate you sharing your stories, your journey, as well as
Yes, sir.
The stories about your fallen comrade, your fallen brother, Richard.
Yeah.
He meant a lot to a
Yep.
lot of us. Um,
Yep.
you mean a lot to a lot of us. So I want you to continue to do what you're doing. We really, really
Yes, sir.
appreciate you guys. Shout out to Shidokan Atlanta, and Senpai AJ, Adrian
Yes.
Weathersby. And
Mhm.
is he going to be continuing the school, or is
Yeah, he's
what
going to
do
be
we know what the
he's
plans
basically
are?
going to be he is going to be running the school along with I think Ricky Tremmell, Richard's son, is also going
Okay,
to be being part of that as well. But I believe as far as the karate aspect goes, Shidokan Atlanta, it's going to be AJ. So he's going to be the
right,
man
all right,
with that
all right,
with there. So which he's earned it. You know, he's
yeah,
still competing really well and
right,
super
yeah,
talented, and
yeah.
he's got the same
Definitely
kind of mannerisms as Richard and stuff too. So
right, right. You
he,
watch him
he'll do
fight, and you
he'll do
watch Richard fight. It looks very similar.
yep. So he's a good fit. I'm excited to see what he does too. So yep.
So
All right.
if somebody wants to get in contact with you, or they want to get more information about Full Throttle Fitness,
Mhm.
what is the best way to reach you?
I would say through the website. It's fullthrottlemma.com, or I can give you my phone number 678-896-7846. They can call me, and you can email me from the website or Facebook. It's Full Throttle Fitness on Facebook. Full Throttle Fitness and MMA. Sorry, I got hacked. I had to change everything, but it is Full Throttle Fitness and MMA on Facebook, and then it's Full Throttle Fitness on Instagram. So you can find me somewhere.
All right,
Or Kelly
all right.
Leo.
Well,
Yep.
there you go. There you go.
Yep.
Kelly the Lion Leo, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Yes.
Os.
Yes, sir. Us.